Good evening. Good evening. Good evening from Montreal. And I guess what I wanted to discuss tonight, I guess, is American politics, more specifically, American politics as it relates to Donald Trump. And there's many things to talk about. You know, you could go on for years here. You could go on for talking about Donald Trump. But I mean, I'm going to begin this by speaking about a certain topic. I'm going to begin, and you know what I want to say is that what we're seeing developing in America is not a very beautiful picture. We're seeing we're seeing an America which is appearing before our eyes. We're seeing an America which is divided, and you'll say, well, you'll wonder, you say, what is he talking about when he's talking about divided? But this is what we're seeing. We're seeing a divided America in the sense is that you have on one side, let me put it simply, you have the left and the right. This is the categories that we use. And the right, the right steadily through the years in America has become more and more powerful, the right. And when we speak of the right, we're talking about how do you define the right? It's very difficult in a way to define the right. And this is where you have to bring in Trump. You have to bring in the name of Trump to define a bit the right, to right. I mean, let us say that Trump is a representative of the right viewpoints, of the viewpoints of the right fundamentalists. I call them fundamentalists, the right. And this is this is unfortunately what we're seeing develop in America. We're seeing the rise of this right. And I mean, they've always been there. The right has always been there. What do you want to call it? The Christian right, whatever name you want to use. It's always been there. It's always been there in America. But it's become, to me, it's come out more in the open. It's more visible nowadays. I mean, January the 6th was the apex, was the explosion of this how do you say, of this republicanism. Uh, and what we saw on January the 6th was, I mean, it's not something really new in the sense that we never saw such a public display of hatred, such a public display of hatred by the population against the political class. I mean, to be able to go on Parliament Hill and don't kid yourself. You know, a lot of people have talked about this, but what these insurrectionists want to do on that day, on January the 6th, they wanted to overthrow the government. Do not look at it in any different way. They wanted to overthrow the government. This was a coup d'etat. This is the only way to look at it. And this was a coup d'etat which was planned. I mean, this doesn't come together in one day. An action like this, a mass gathering like this, does not come together in one day. This was planned. This was planned. Who knows how long? I'll just venture to say this was planned many months ahead. It was planned by different sectors in the American society. And okay, you have the presence of the fundamentalist groups. When I talk about fundamentalist groups, I'm talking about the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, etc. You have on one side these different fundamentalist groups who really jumped on the bandwagon when Trump appeared on the political scene. And but I also believe it's not only these groups. that we can hold responsible for the events of January the 6th. I mean, let's let's look at it from this way or whatever. There had to be there had to be an internal political connection. What I mean by an internal political connection is that there had to be members in parliament, in parliament, okay, in government, in the Senate, in the Congress, whatever, in the parties who participated, who participated in planning and bringing this insurrection of January the 6th. And I don't know if it was like, let's venture. We don't know specifically how this came about. We don't have, of course, the details. I don't know if we'll have the details maybe one day. But, you know, is it possible? Is it possible? Just suggesting, is it possible that maybe the insurrection began with members within the political class, with senators, whatever, with congressmen in the political class who made contact, who established ties with these right-wing organizations. Because I'm wondering, what I'm trying to say is, I'm wondering if these organizations could have done it totally on their own. Because this, let's look at it sincerely and honestly. To organize an insurrection like that, it takes also a bit of funding. It takes, I mean, can't be done without funds. You're bringing people from different sectors of the society, from different districts, from different states. You're bringing people together. This is where I say where organization met money and it met powerful people. It met. So these people gathered on January 6th. And like I said, they meant business. And we are lucky. I think we are lucky that we didn't see more serious consequences in terms of violence. That we didn't see maybe more injuries and maybe more deaths. Do not forget, they had brought a working gallows with them. They had brought to Capitol Hill. This should show you that their intent was serious and that their intent was deadly. So this is what we're seeing. And before I go on, I want to say to you also, you have to realize that these people who came together on January 6th, they are not going to disappear. They are part of the American public. They are members of the American civil society. They're not going to disappear. In my mind, these people after January the 6th, they are going to regroup again. They're going to look at what they did, and they're going to try to learn from what they did. In a sense, how do I mean learn from what they did? They're going to try to see how they can come back and be more powerful. So this is why we have to realize it's very important. It's very important to get Trump out of the way. I don't know if getting Trump out of the way will calm the situation, really. I don't know if it's gotten to a level where Trump is really necessary anymore. and these people and these groups like the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers are functioning together. I think they've amongst themselves they may be forming how do I say it, their connections amongst themselves. But the thing is that it will not help. It will not help if Trump is still present, if Trump is still spreading his how would I say it, his nonsense, his lies. He will continue. He will continue to inflame the public. If he is not removed from the public sphere, he will continue to inflame the public. And this is where it gets dangerous. He cannot be allowed to present himself, I believe, in the 2024 elections. He cannot be allowed to do that, because if he is allowed to do that, I will tell you, my friends, I will tell you sincerely, America is doomed. America is doomed if he is allowed to, to present himself as a presidential candidate in the next election. America will not recover. So I'm hoping in between this time to the next election that something can be done, and that the government, I guess the Democrats, we have to refer, that the Democrats will kick in. They will kick in and be serious in their attempts to shut down this individual. Shut him down, I don't know in what way, but he has to be removed from the political scene. And it's a very difficult situation, because you know Trump before January the 6th, he did a lot of, how would I call it, or whatever. He spewed a lot of hatred. He spewed a lot of racist hatred onto the American society or whatever. He spread, let me call it this way, I see him as a flame. He put a flame under the American public, and people responded. This is what he did. He stoked the fires. He stoked the fires of fascism. He stoked the fires of insurrection. So let's think very seriously about where we are going to go and what will happen if he is not stopped. I hope I have offered you something to think about. If you have any comments, please. I'm not a famous person, but I would invite your comments. Thank you very much for your time.